welcome to Tesla Emperor Without Clothes. We're back with our latest Tesla negative news roundup. It's been over a week, but the news just kept pouring out and we kept revising the episode. We finally had to cut it off and save some for the next roundup. So in any case, here's the latest and most significant Tesla news we found that you won't be able to find on CNBC. First, there was a fascinating article this past week in Nikkei Asia which claimed that Honda now has the lead in autonomous vehicles. There's much too much in the article to cover in this short summary, but among the key takeaways are that Honda is introducing a Level 3 system to the market, dubbed Traffic Jam Pilot, in its flagship Legend, and that no one else, not Tesla or Audi or anyone, has managed to put a Level 3 system on the road, particularly for technical reasons, but also because of regulatory issues. The second major takeaway is that Japan is taking the lead internationally in crafting regulations for autonomous vehicles and driving, partially to give its traditionally conservative automakers a leg up. The article is a great read for anyone interested in the true state of autonomous driving, as opposed to Tesla hype about a full self-driving system that isn't coming soon. We next cover the Tesla Fremont factory shutdown. In short, the Fremont factory closed on or about February 21st, likely due to a chip shortage related to supplier Samsung. Twitter user Sawyer Merritt, in since deleted tweets, anticipated a 2-week shutdown, but Elon Musk subsequently tweeted on February 25th that the factory was back up and running. Following this, debate broke out on Twitter about whether the factory was fully operational or if it was operating only part-time shifts, and some watchers noted that even post-restart, the parking lots looked a little sleepy. There were also claims, as per this tweet from Louis Carruthers, that factory workers were asked to take unpaid leave and vacation, but we could not corroborate this with evidence. The entire event was communicated with typical Tesla opaqueness, but from our analysis, it seems that the entire factory was shut down for several days and that the Model 3 and Model Y lines suffered a continued shutdown even after the factory reopened. Oh, and one final note. In responding to a series of tweets about the shutdown, Sawyer Merritt tweeted that Tesla has inventory left over from Q4 2020 to offset the shutdown. This is certainly a surprising fact for a supposedly supply-constrained company, and we're baffled as to why Tesla would have leftover inventory from the prior quarter if their claims as to demand were true. In terms of the latest design news, Inside EVs reported that Tesla is switching the standard range Model 3s and Ys to LFP battery packs. Some may ask what the significance of this change is. Well, reading up on battery technologies, you'll learn that LFP batteries are less energy dense than other lithium-ion battery types, and perhaps more significantly, perform much worse in cold weather. LFP is of course cheaper to manufacture, which explains why Tesla is using it in its lower cost models. We just hope that buyers are aware of the trade-offs. Also, while we're talking about the standard range cars, which were cut in price less than 2 weeks ago by Tesla, we note that these cars no longer appear on Tesla's website. Musk later indicated, as per this article, that they are, however, available off-menu. We're not sure what to say, other than that Tesla model offerings move almost as rapidly as its stock price. Following up on our segment last week about Tesla not being sufficiently forthcoming regarding its true energy use and emissions, we saw that Edward Niedermeyer, the author of Ludicrous, tweeted about how his first Tesla story was motivated by Tesla superchargers being powered by diesel generators. He elaborates in the tweet thread that Tesla, in preparing its carbon impact claims, assumes that its vehicles have zero direct or indirect emissions. Obviously, this is blatantly false, and it's a shame that Tesla gets away with such misstatements. Check out Niedermeyer's tweets for the whole story. And speaking about Tesla's environmental practices, Machine Planet tweeted 2 pictures that pretty much sum up Tesla's environmental commitment. The first picture shows Tesla's Fremont factory and highlighted Tesla's tiny solar array there. You can see literally acres of the factory have no solar panels whatsoever, which is odd for a company dedicated to clean energy, and in solar in particular, with a factory in sunny California. In the next pic, Machine Planet shows the massive solar array at Volkswagen's Chattanooga, Tennessee factory. The Volkswagen solar park is 66 acres and produces 9.5 megawatts of power, which is 12% of the plant's consumption. We think this is quite telling of Tesla's commitment to clean energy and belief in its very own solar products. We're going to start off our competition section a little differently this episode. First, as per this article on Kelley Blue Book, J.D. Power conducted a survey on EV consumers and found that while Tesla does currently account for 79% of EV sales in the US, only 4% of EV shoppers limit their consideration to Tesla only. What this tells us is that the EV market is wide open, and it's very unlikely Tesla will dominate, as some fans and analysts predict. Moving on to actual competition, the long-awaited Lucid Spack merger was finally announced last Tuesday, confirming that Lucid would be going public. In its presentation, Lucid shared some interesting information, including a highlight of its management team. As you can see, there's no shortage of automotive and tech expertise on board. Lucid also shared its market positioning, which they deem post-luxury. In what can perhaps be interpreted as a burn, they presented this Venn diagram where Lucid overlaps with the big three, and Tesla sits by itself off to the side as innovative but not luxury. They share a slide showing their skateboard platform, which clearly shows the next model is a large 7-seat crossover SUV called the Gravity. We imagine this will give the aging and peculiar Model X some serious competition. Lucid also included a slide as to its future growth opportunities, which include energy storage and being a tech supplier. Clearly, they intend to bring the fight to Tesla on all fronts, and we believe will be a serious check on Tesla's potential to capture significant market share. We recommend a look through Lucid's investors presentation, as it's jammed full of information about their capability, technology, and plans. And further on Lucid, the Global Times tweeted that Lucid is looking at building a Chinese factory. It makes sense, and is yet another point on which Lucid is going to hit Tesla. Finally, and we saved this last about Lucid, per a tweet from Speculator that embedded in an interview with Lucid's CEO Peter Rawlinson, Rawlinson suggested that Lucid's car is the, quote, perfect platform for, quote, any Silicon Valley big company to prove out its autonomous vehicle software. Speculator speculates that the Silicon Valley company may be Apple. Obviously, there's no way to tell, but we think that would be very big news indeed. In other news, Car and Driver obtained a Volkswagen ID4 First Edition and subjected it to its real-world 75 mph test. The ID4 achieved 190 miles of range, which compares to 220 miles achieved by the Tesla Model Y long range in the same test. They note, however, that the Volkswagen ran the test in 40 degrees, whereas the Tesla did so in 75 degrees. This certainly gave the Tesla a significant advantage. We would advocate that Car and Driver retest both models in the same weather. Car and Driver did note that the ID4 came much closer to its EPA range number than did the Model Y to its respective number. Separately, the Wall Street Journal has an article about the ID4 by Dan Neal. It was an interesting piece for several reasons. First, Neal begins the article by clarifying several times that he's not a Tesla fanboy, which strikes us as a somewhat defensive way to launch into a critique of a competitor's model. He boldly proclaims the ID4 is 5 years behind the Model Y, and then proceeds to complain about the ID4's user interface. Not to justify a poor UI, but UIs vary from brand to brand, and having a superior one has little to do with being ahead in the EV race. Neal also notes that it's, quote, lame that the ID4 has a 12-volt battery, which is interesting because perhaps he doesn't know that the Model Y has one too. He then complains, perhaps correctly, about some shortcomings to the ID4's design, but all of it strikes us as typical brand-to-brand variants. Some do some things better, some do some things worse, but brand design choices are not evidence of technological lag in EV implementation. Finally, he complains about the $41,000 price, which we note does not include the $7,500 federal rebate, which you can no longer get with Tesla, nor does it include the 3 years of free charging at Electrify America. So Neal is comparing cars at two vastly different price points for the consumer, and makes the leap from some possibly poor design choices to an EV-related technological deficit. Our conclusion is that Neal is in fact a Tesla shill, and that his article is a hit piece. The link to it is in our summary, but we can't say we recommend reading it. Separately, Car and Driver also reported that Volkswagen aims to have autonomous ID Buzz vans available for commercial use by 2025. This van is being developed in cooperation with Argo AI and would have level 4 autonomy. This goal and timeframe seems more realistic to us than Tesla's ongoing false claims that the release of its full self-driving cars is just around the corner. In even more competition news, Hyundai showed off its attractive Ioniq 5 EV. which sports an 800-volt architecture that's double Tesla's 400-volt system and is just like that of the Porsche Taycan. Moreover, the Ioniq can power appliances in your home and even charge other EVs. The Ioniq 5 should be on the larger side, as it has a wheelbase that is longer than that of even the Model S, and it will be arriving this fall. It went on sale last week in Korea, and per this tweet from Tesla Korea Unofficial, it's sold out there in one day. We think it's going to be a strong entry into the EV category. And the competition just doesn't end this week. The Wall Street Journal reported that Fisker reached an agreement with Foxconn to produce up to 250,000 cars a year in a Wisconsin factory. Fisker's aim is to produce its second model, which is to be a high-volume EV, there beginning in 2023. We don't have any details to share about it, but given this new relationship, we certainly believe something credible is on its way. And to the investors out there in what is becoming another ongoing saga, Bill Gates was back on TV, this time on Bloomberg, not denying that he shorted Tesla. In this instance, he implied that he was perhaps in a trade, just not on the long side. Watch the clip and let us know your thoughts.
Elon has in the past claimed you shorted Tesla, and I wonder if there's any truth to that.
Well, I think Tesla's an amazing company. I wish I'd, been more on the long side, but it's great.
To wrap things up this week, we bring you yet another Tesla crash, which was blamed on autopilot. Here, apparently, a Model Y ran under another car in Miami. We don't know the details, but the end result made for a mildly amusing picture. That's all for now. We hope you enjoyed this roundup. Thanks for watching, and please like, share, and subscribe.